Welcome to University Unitarian Church. I'm honored to share worship with you all this morning. My name is Melody Moberg, and I serve as Director of Religious Education at this congregation. I'm also a candidate for Unitarian Universalist ministry. I'm pursuing a Master of Divinity at Seattle University School of Theology. It's good to be with you all today. Today's call to celebration comes from Genesis 2 of the Hebrew Scriptures, New Revised Standard Version adapted. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished in all their multitude. And on the seventh day, God finished the work that she had done, and she rested on the seventh day. So God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because on it God rested. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Now let us join in singing our doxology. Now let us join in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Let yourself arrive to this moment. Feel the aliveness within you. You are a miraculous constellation of cells, a being irreplaceable. Each breath is a gift as it enters you, and each exhale can offer relief. We gather this morning from homes, from sick beds, from lawn chairs, from morning walks, from sofas, and from kitchen tables. We are separated from each other. Some of us are thousands of miles away from this beloved chapel, and yet we are one. It's a tough time to be human in the midst of this ongoing pandemic. It's tough to be constellations of cells, living, breathing, miraculous, aching and uncertain. This year has taxed us. It's asked more than we can give. And yet this year has inspired us. Rolled back the veil, exposing injustice which was always there. This year has asked us to grieve, to demand accountability, and to transform systems. Spirit of life, bring life-sustaining support to the agitators, truth-tellers, and healers. Help us to discern ways we are called to co-create, to show up and be present. Help us resist all that is extraneous, all that depletes us and distracts us from what matters, and help us to enter sacred rest. To these imperfect words, we add the silent intentions of our hearts. Feel the aliveness within you. Blessed be, and amen. As we prepare to receive the morning offering, join me in speaking our offering words. Following the offertory, we will sing hymn number 352, Find a Stillness. This church is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. When we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
Fold your white wings, dear angels. Fold your white wings. Dew falls and the nightingale softly now sings. Across the lawn lie shadows, so still, so deep. Dear loving angels, pass not by. Hush me to sleep. Night falls, and whispering goes the wind along the sea. Fold your white wings, dear angels. Fold them, dear angels. Them round me. Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
The book of Genesis opens with a grand myth about creation. The passage reads, In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God swept over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness she called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. In this story, God creates everything not out of nothing, but out of chaos. The earth was a formless void. From the dark, chaotic waters of the void, the breath of God creates form, distinctions, light, dark, morning and evening. Morning and evening. In this story, God opens creation by creating time. At the beginning of worship, I shared a reading from later in this creation myth. So God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because on it God rested. The culmination of creation in this story is neither plants, nor clouds, nor even people, but the Sabbath, Shabbat, sacred rest. Creation begins with time and ends with sacred rest, which is the fulfillment of time and the fulfillment of creation itself. And this story sparked a practice of sacred rest. Most Christians mark the seventh day of creation on Sunday, while others mark it on Saturday. On the Sabbath, Christians worship and rest from work. Jews observe Shabbat from sundown on Friday through early evening on Saturday. Shabbat is a practice of sacred rest, offering rituals for worship, rest, and community. There are 39 categories of work and deliberate activity which are prohibited on Shabbat. These activities include plowing soil, dyeing wool, and kindling fires. Orthodox and conservative Jews tend to follow these prohibitions strictly, while Reform Jews are more flexible. The important piece is to diligently not work, instead centering rest and reflection. I wanted to explore the themes of time and rest this morning because, like so many others, my sense of time and my sense of rest has been utterly disrupted. Since quarantine began, I can't remember if it's still mid-June or May or March. I can't remember what I've done over the last month. Time slowed down, then accelerated, and it now feels adrift. It feels like floating in an alternate universe. This experience of time changing, though, isn't new. Time has always been really weird. Religions and cultures tend to imagine time as linear or cyclical. The Abrahamic faiths of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam see time as linear or like a line. Time has a beginning, a middle, and an end. In contrast, Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains operate from a cyclical model of time. Time doesn't move like a line in one direction. Time moves in circles or spirals. Time spins through repeating ages, stories, creations, and destructions. In the Hindu epics of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, Hindu deities disguise themselves as avatars. These avatars come to earth, where they enact the same kind of story over and over with slightly different players. Belief in reincarnation comes from religions with cyclical understandings of time. Souls are reborn again after death, cycling through lifetimes. American culture is definitely built on linear time, but sometimes we can get a taste of cyclical time. This often happens on annual holidays or when celebrating the seasons. Memory isn't just stored in our minds. Memory is also stored in a menorah passed down from a relative. Memory is stored in the smell of fireworks or a perfect garden tomato. Every time I drive down a certain stretch of I-5, I remember a conversation I had there once. The landscape holds the memory for me. Smelling and eating that perfect garden tomato connects me to summers past. I see images from past summers, from past tomatoes, past iterations of myself. I see them pressed together like nesting dolls. The smell and taste of a garden tomato connects me to my late father, who now exists outside of space and time. Our inner experience of time is also weird. Those of us who are adults may remember how summer vacation seemed to last forever as a child. I remember staring at the clock in my third grade classroom, and I remember how slowly the second hand seemed to tick by, especially right before lunch. There are 3 theories about why time feels slower to children than to adults, and why our subjective experience of time accelerates as we age. The first theory is that, for children, one day takes up a huge percentage of that child's life compared with an adult. The second theory is that our perceptions of time compare clock time with our inner rhythms, like our heart rate. Children have higher heart rates than adults do, and so their sense of time is slower. Similarly, if we experience something scary, like a bicycle crash, our experience of time slows way down as our heart rate spikes and our perceptions sharpen. The third theory is that novelty slows time down. Children experience brand new things all the time. Paying attention to new things is exciting, and it takes energy to fit new things into our existing mental maps. Adults are less likely to experience new things because they've been around longer, and so for them, time moves faster. I think that time from the perspective of cosmology is the weirdest of all. As I understand it, the block universe concept of time imagines the universe as an unmoving block of space-time. Any perceived movement through this block of space-time is a human construct. And what this means is that time is unchanging. Any sense of time being linear or cyclical, or of us having a past, present, and future, is a way our brains make sense of reality. This brain-bending idea lines up with Buddhist philosophy, and it also lines up with the writings of mystics across religious traditions. Mystics often speak of the eternal now. During the past 5 months of COVID-19, we've seen time warp and change in a unique way and in a collective way. During the first month of shelter in place, time slowed down because we were collectively stressed, worrying about our lives, our loved ones, our finances, and the world. Stressful experiences cause our perception of time to slow way down. During that first month of coronavirus, I was glued to my phone, gathering information. It takes time to integrate large quantities of brand new, stressful information into our memory. Negative, obsessive, inwardly directed rumination is normal during a crisis, and it's also the opposite of flow. Flow states are ways we positively lose track of time and feel engaged and happy. In flow, a child can play with blocks for hours and time flies by. In flow, we focus on and get lost within writing or art or repair projects. In rumination, time drags past and we're miserable. During times of crisis, we're drawn to rumination, not flow. From April through today, my sense of time accelerated. And this is in part because I am living the same daily routine. I stay home, follow the same schedule, and cook the same meals. I don't have a lot of distractions or new stimuli to make life feel pleasantly full. I know that frontline workers have a different experience than this. I think that getting time back to normal in the months ahead requires time, flow, and rest. This experience will feel less strange the longer we're in it. Activities which create a flow state can help us feel pleasantly engaged in life and not held hostage by it. The best activities to engage us are creative and challenging because they lead to absorption. Finally, rest and sleep help us reorient our circadian rhythms. Another huge puzzle in my quarantine life is rest. In theory, during the past months, I've been resting, and yet I don't feel rested at all. The self-care practices which used to sustain me are no longer good enough. I wonder what's needed to find rest now. And the answer is simple: more rest, more self-care. The self-care practices I used to do, but more of them. The rest I used to get, but longer. Integrating more rest into daily life. For me, this often means more silence. Cooking without music, yoga with no soundtrack, and walks with no phone. I know what to do. I know what I need, and I know these times are extraordinary in our lifetimes, but it's so hard to prioritize rest. Why? I think that rest is hard to find because American culture does not tolerate resting, not during a pandemic, not ever. The only way we can make space for rest is to interrogate internalized messages that rest is bad, interrogate messages that rest is lazy, interrogate messages that we're only our jobs, or our productivity, or our busyness, or our hustle. In her recent book, Do Nothing, Celeste Headlee calls efficiency a cult. She argues that efficiency culture is toxic. It tries to milk every ounce of productivity, work, and doing from our time. Celeste Headlee argues that human bodies and minds were not meant to toil ceaselessly for hours and hours. We actually work best when we find states of flow. We work best when we're able to pulse rather than grind. Short bursts of uninterrupted, focused work elicit the greatest creativity and productivity in us. These moments of pulse can only last for 30 to 90 minutes, and then we need to rest and to focus on something that is not work. In this time of quarantine, we need to develop resiliency. Resiliency is the capacity to survive and recover from stress and trauma. Headley writes that resilient systems are characterized by diversity and redundancy. Efficiency culture wants to eliminate diversity and redundancy. The cult of efficiency eviscerates resilience. American addiction to efficiency and grind culture is a product of capitalism. In Europe and the United States, understandings of rest and time were changed utterly by the Industrial Revolution. Factory jobs took the place of skilled trades jobs, and work was not crafting a product anymore, but monotonous, meaningless activity paid by the hour. Headley writes that in the 1600s, the word punctuality meant exactness. But in the late 18th century, punctuality meant on time. Contemporary American culture cares far less about the quality of products created than profit and squeezing workers dry during the time they're allotted for work. Nowhere is this more evident than in the horrors of Amazon warehouse jobs. Rest is essential to our resilience and survival during the months ahead. For rest to succeed and gain purchase in our minds and lives, we need to internally push out insidious narratives telling us we do not deserve rest. There are two contemporary voices which clarify the liberatory power of rest as resistance. The first is the NAP ministry, and the second is disability justice. The NAP ministry was created by the NAP bishop, Tricia Hersey. It combines womanist liberation theology, social media, and performance art. Womanist theology is a form of theology which centers Black women. Hersey names sleep deprivation as a racial and social justice issue. It is countercultural to let Black women rest. It's countercultural because of the ongoing legacy of slavery. During slavery, rest was stolen. And to make matters worse, for centuries, white people have labeled people of color as lazy, a lie used to justify white supremacy. The NAP ministry positions rest as resistance and rest as a portal to a different world. Hersey writes, "Rest is a portal. In this portal, liberation is waiting, but our brainwashing via white supremacy, culture, and capitalism has tricked us. We think rest is evil, frivolous, something you have to earn. They don't want us rested, because in a rested and open state, we will wake up." Disability justice is an intersectional movement addressing disability and ableism from a wider framework of liberation. Disability justice was developed by a grassroots collective of Black, brown, queer, and trans disabled and chronically ill people. Disability justice has helped me make meaning and find power in the midst of a chronic pain condition. And through this work and research, I've discovered that disability justice transformed my understanding of rest. Our whole broken system, from racism to the Protestant work ethic, denies the human need for rest. The cult of efficiency abandons people at the margins. The cult of efficiency strips meaning from the lives of people with disabilities. And the cult of efficiency is so insidious, it even tells people who retire that their lives are now over. Without work, there's nothing worth living for. We must resist these death-bringing values. We must honor sacred rest. Making space for rest in activism and in church can help these spaces be accessible and sustainable. In care work, Dreaming Disability Justice, Leah Lakshmi Piepsna Samarasena reflects on rest, the sick bed, and dream time. They write, "Chronic illness sucks, but oh, there is the secret bliss of bed. Bedtime means lots of dream time. I have more dream time than most 9-to-5 or movement organizers could ever dream of." It is so difficult to write both what sucks about disability, the pain, the oppression, the impairment, and the joy of this body at the same time. They write, "The hard beauty of this life is built around all the time I must spend resting. The bed is the Nepantla, or boundary crossing, place of opening." Leah Lakshmi Piepsna Samarasena offers here a vision for sacred rest as a portal to dream time. Because of their chronic illness, Lakshmi Piepsna Samarasena is gifted access to the creative, healing, transformative world of dreams, which in turn shapes their life and writing. In the beginning, God created time, and on the seventh day, God created sacred rest as the fulfillment of creation. The myth is clear, human physiology is clear, disability justice is clear. Resting is essential to our humanity. We're more than our jobs, more than our labor, and more than our grind. Friends, may we rest. May time flow as it should. And may we dream new futures together. Amen. The hymn to "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple" is from the Shakers, a Christian movement from the 18th and 19th century. I once visited an exhibit of Shaker furniture and crafts in a museum. It seemed like most furniture and Shaker inventions had to do with pie. Shakers invented the double rolling pin, and they also created pie safes, special furniture to keep freshly baked pies secure from pests. Clearly, the Shakers saw pie making as part of their vocation and vision for simplicity. They also invented special beds to care for those who were bed-bound. The promise I see in "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple" is that keeping things simple is a form of rest. Simplicity helps us center what's most important. With less physical and mental stuff holding us down, we're able to move with more flexibility with seasons of change and disruption. Simplicity helps us build resilience. And now, please join in singing hymn number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple."
Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be free, tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn, turn will be our delight, till by turning, turning we come round right.
Today's benediction comes from Richard Jeffries. It is eternity now. I am in the midst of it. It is about me in the sunshine. I am in it as the butterfly in the light-laden air. Nothing has to come. It is now. Now is eternity. Now is the immortal life.